Right, we're going to do a bit of fishing. See if there's any fish down there. And I'll leave the camera running for a bit. See what happens. Or if I turn it off, then what we're using seems to work. This is our other rig. Yesterday or the day before, I put some heavier trace on here because then you can lift a heavier fish out without breaking your mind. So maybe we're going to get a bigger one today. There's lots of little tiny fish down there, so where there's tiny fish, there's big ones. Right to the bottom. And then up. Reel in. With these kind of reels, you don't want to get one of these reels. I get these reels. I use this kind of reel because this is what I was brought up with, and I love these kind of reels. They're fantastic reels. You can cast really well with them, but you have to be an expert with these, otherwise you get what's called an overrun. You have to clear your overrun. And then so a bit of overrun after that, you shouldn't really do that. This kind of reel, you've got to lay your line level like this, and you wheel it in. Now you can cast, I'll show you. Way over there. So we'll let that go to the bottom. Heading for the bottom. It's quite deep here. Yeah, it's on the bottom, you see. Doing there. Try another cast. Over there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make it. I'm just going to make it like this. Put the lid on top, and we'll cook that. Cook the bottom side of that. Start this one up. I like this out because there's a bit of butter in there, and if you put a bit of butter in the pan, it makes it all golden brown. So for example, you don't need all of that. good. This will be ready now. As you can see. Oh, what's happened there? Oh, I'm tangled up here. Well, this is interesting. We've just had the first real-time use of the AIS system, and you can see these 3 boats here, 1, 2, 3, have just appeared on the AIS, and they must be transmitting. And because they're anchored now, they're always quiet, but listen. One of the boats is moving, started to move. And there's a boat over there, the farthest one back, this one here, is actually anchoring. And so he's probably still moving a bit. But if any of these boats start to move, then this alarm's going to go off. And so you can see not only is your own boat, if your own boat moves, not only is that going to show, but if other people's boats move as well, you're going to get this kind of warning, really, which is pretty good if you're in a crowded anchorage like this, I suppose. But it's a very interesting system. It's remarkable how many boats, small boats, have got this. There's one big boat here amongst them, but you can see these are the boats parked up behind me in the line that we saw, and they're quite small boats, really. That one, this one's a big one, but the one back there isn't not that big either. Oh, interesting. It's very interesting, this whole island is a bird sanctuary. Just realised this now. Very beautiful place. I like it here. Well, I've been having a bit of trouble with the sound, so I'm hoping that from this position with the camera right inside the boat, facing the other way, that we can get some better sound. I don't know, we'll have to see. And what I'm doing is, I've got the camera on the stand I normally use for my navionics, my iPad stand, and it's on the table where it normally is, but the table is, the sliding table is in the other position. So we'll see how this is for filming. One good thing about this is it holds the camera very tight, so I could actually do this whilst I'm at sea and whilst we're sailing on a difficult condition. But as you can see, we're not going to get much out the back because it's too bright out there compared to the light level inside here. So it's not going to work that good for seeing what's outside. Well, we're in Skomer Island, as you can see on the navionics here, and in the night it came to me, I thought I might leave today, but in the night it came to me, I need more rest, and so I'm going to do that. I'm going to take some time off and rest because I have a very bad back, and it needs, after being used and abused on anchor chains and things like that, it needs a few days to settle down. Otherwise, you know, if it goes on me whilst I'm doing some dangerous thing out on deck here, with the sails and that, it's not going to be very pleasant, is it? Okay, so it's a nice day in Skomer Island. We have yet to see what we'll do today, and hopefully I'd like to get the dinghy blown up and get some boats, some shots of the boat on the water here. Maybe boats, more than one boat. We'll see. It's possible to visit the island, actually. I don't know whether I want to do that and get involved in the officialdom of bird sanctuaries. I'm quite happy to be out here because in this world of yachting, anchoring, it's a kind of complete freedom thing. You're actually you're allowed to anchor anywhere except on the chart where it says you can't anchor. Now, there are places where you just don't want to throw the pick down because you want the pick to hit sand or mud or something like that. You don't want to throw your pick into the rocks and then never be able to get it back again. Or into some place where there's lots of ground tackle has been lost and chains and old stuff like that on the bottom, foul bottom. You don't want your anchor down there. But wherever you can throw your anchor, that's where you should throw it. And the places that are marked as anchorages are just those places that have been checked out and there's a sandy bottom or useful bottom for anchoring. But there are other places on the chart that you can anchor, and it's quite obvious to me as you sail around, you see boats anchored in little bays that aren't marked as anchorages simply because nobody's bothered to mark them such. And it's a bit disappointing that there isn't so many of those places noted on Navionics. But the reason for that, I feel, is because people haven't made their spots available to everybody, and that's good, because if you had too many of that stuff cluttering up the screen on Navionics here, and you had everybody's little anchor spot all marked from there, it would just get in the way, really. So the way things are working out is good. Navionics is a good little app, and it is only a little app because it hasn't got a lot of functionality you might sort of expect it. I can't seem to find any anchor alarm in it, which is surprising. There's an anchor alarm in here, but not in Navionics. If somebody knows about an anchor alarm in Navionics, please let me know. But I couldn't find anything, and I think it's good because there's a lot of complexity to these applications, and if they're too complex, you can't really find your way around them. You get lost in them, and I think Navionics is not a bad application for getting around. It could be a bit better in certain areas where you should have a button where you can immediately see the currents and the tides. Both together would be good. The tides and the current, one on the top and one on the bottom. That would be better, or one above the other. And just one button to access it wherever you are, the closest one to wherever you are. That would be good. You can have too many buttons on the screen that's with immediate access. You can go overboard with that sort of thing. So system design is a pretty critical thing, and they haven't done a bad job on Navionics. Not really. It's usable, which is proven by its popularity. There are other applications, but everybody gets Navionics because it must be the best one. And one of the things about a chart application is it doesn't matter where you are in the world, it's got all the charts from Navionics, but you have to pay for them, but the price is not that bad. Some applications, they have all the charts in them, but then when you look at how many charts there are, a lot of charts of the world, parts of the world, are actually missing, so you don't get those parts. So, and can't get those parts because those parts aren't available to that application. I'm thinking of Savvy Navi, something like that. And Savvy Navi had a good feature of auto route planning. based on time and tides and stuff like that. But Navionics also has a good automatic route planning thing now. It wasn't when I first came into contact with it, but now it is. And most of what I do is I just put the start point in the end point and let it do all the hard work. And then if there's parts of that course that I want to change a bit close to a headland, something like that, I'll shift it around with my finger. And so it's really, really quite good, the Navionics automatic chart plotting feature. Okay, well, I'm going to call it one for the filming, and we'll see how it turns out. First time using the new camera position. Well, it's the best day and everybody's gone. They've left me alone on Skomer Island. I like the word Skomer Island, it sounds great, doesn't it? It says Skomer. Skomer is much better. All alone with the birds. What a lovely spot. And it's just started to quieten off, the swell's gone. And so I got a feeling it's just going to turn perfect. That's why nature is holding me here, because it's just going to get really, really good. It's calming off now enough to film. I'll get some better shots later. And these guys get a bit closer to the boat. They're so nice critters, puffins. That's another island directly opposite. I'll put the name of that up on the screen. Gives a little bit of shelter, but not much. Just having a cup of coffee at the moment. Thinking about making some breakfast.